Hi, good morning, everybody.
Good
So
morning.
happy to be here with my guest, Christina Lambermont, who is a coach, brand, image, identity. And we will be discussing the importance and the whole concept of grace, of beauty, and maybe even a bit about elegance and make sure we understand or we address the subtlety thereof. So, good morning, Christina. Maybe you want to just introduce yourself in a few words and then we dive into our subject.
Okay, thank you. First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be with you from a long time ago.
Likewise.
Yeah, and yeah, well, my what I'm do. My job is I help women and also men, but I most focus on women to find their own identity, the talents, uh, to become real powerful strengths, but not only inner side, but also outside, because I used to work as image consulting for many years. And then I include the NLP, the coaching, the Gallup Strength Coaching. So I was, yeah, I like really to help people to find their self, to be more authentic. Yeah.
Nice. So, it's everything about being your authentic self, which includes, of course, I guess also showing up as the highest version of ourselves, and which includes also, yeah, being aligned, I suppose. And let's dive into the subject then. What about this huge theme of beauty and grace? I think just to put it into context, beauty and grace, it was a difficult subject for me to come up with because it was there since a while, but I felt kind of ashamed. Like, can we really talk about beauty, or is it something that comes at your birth? You just are beautiful, or is what is beauty actually? Why is it a kind of something you could be ashamed of, but at the same time that everybody is looking for? It's such a big thing, beauty. Everything is about beauty today, and we're a society that functions through the eyes, and beauty in the normal world, in the 3D world, I would say, is very much about what we see, right? So I wanted to discuss this with you because, as you know, I have these Kundalini yoga groups, and every time we go into a 40 days practice and we dive into a theme and we just go and observe who we are regarding that theme and what comes up for us in that voyage. It's really a trip. And this time I wanted to bring that up, the concept of grace and experiencing grace and beauty. So I have my little ideas that I wanted to share with you, but
Yeah,
first
please
maybe
go.
you tell
Okay.
me about what is grace according to you and what is beauty according to you? Is it from birth or is it something we can learn? How is that?
Yeah, okay. Well, beauty for me, it's a little bit like the thing that we can see in the nature, it's the harmony. And when we talk about beautiful and people like image consulting, we also search for this harmony. But it's not only appearance, it's more, it's also inside, it's confident and self-esteem. Um, it's the behavior. So beautiful, it's beauty, it's everything. It's not only the physical aspects, but when people can be very beautiful, the way that she act or he act. And it and also beauty is they have the aspect of a cultural perspective. So in different country, beauty is different.
It's very
So
cultural.
our
Mm.
environment, not our environment, help us to understand a little bit about in beauty, our perspective about beauty. And the other thing that about beauty, I think that is well, the balance, like the inner balance, the outside balance. So it's a complex. And today morning I was talking with my daughter and asked her what she think about beauty. And she told me, beauty for me, it's when someone listen another one and have this empathy, this focus on the other person, help other person. And I think that's very interesting that she's a teenager, but he brought me this. So it's, I think that's
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. I think it is indeed very culturally embedded, and it's also linked to our upbringing, our education, the people, our parents who are behind us. What do they show us? How important is it? I grew up with a father which was very strict about that and about how I dress and about, so I had a rejection of that my whole life, really. And it's like more in the later years that I started to really embrace and understand what is beauty for me, actually. And since I'm in the spiritual path, I found out that there are some guidelines that we get which are really very, that express for me the best way what beauty is. They talk about refinement and refining our perception of ourselves, refining our perception of the outside world, and refining our connection. And for me, beauty is in the eye of the observer also. So
yes,
it's also a question of how do we feel when we look at ourselves. And people always say, oh, you feel so good and you're also joyful and blah, blah, blah. And I say, yeah, but I look at myself in the mirror every day and I tell myself how grateful I am to see me and to be in contact with me, to be incarnated in this soul, in this earth, and to have this deep connection with myself. And for me, beauty is that path. So I'm really very much also looking at the Ayurvedic perspective, where we go, like in chemistry, we had this talk the other day, like in chemistry, we go from gross, heavy chemicals, or if you see the Mendeleev table, and we go to lighter elements. And it's the same in spirituality and in Ayurveda. Also, we go from the gross, the material, the heaviness, and the earthly, the grounding, which is needed, to the more subtle, more etherical, refining. And so this is what I wanted to discuss also. So do you think there is a function of grace and beauty? How does it function? Like, for example, when you coach someone, why is it important that they are in that space of beauty and grace? What would you say? Is there a utility to beauty?
Yeah, like grace, for me, it's more complex. And the word grace, it's much more complex, and we can be divine grace, like, and we receive divine grace. Yeah, I think what I search and I help my clients to understand that's a grace or also beauty, what they it could be in a movement, could be in appearance, could be in a communication, the way that we communicate our things, our behavior. So it's appearance, behavior, communication, but also we can find grace in problem solving. So how can I see the problem? How can I observe in my perspective to resolve them? So the calmness, the process of to be grateful and go for it and go to find to resolve this problem. And yeah, my clients normally choose to understand themselves better about talents, and then became more strength on these, to be more confident on these, because sometimes we have all these environments that talk that you are not beauty, you are not that, or you cannot have this. But when we have time to focus on ourselves, this awareness to understand our authenticity, and yeah, we became more strong, with more self-esteem. So that's it. I don't know if I answer your question. Because and then we are talking.
Yeah, totally, totally. Because from what you're saying, and I like how you link grace to gratefulness. I think that's really beautiful because it's true that grace for me was something that we received, like divine grace, mostly what I can refer to. It's also someone walking gracefully, like you see these actresses or some
Yeah.
people that you feel like, wow, they're like floating around. And grace is very light. It has this particularity to be really light. But the way you link grace and gratefulness is beautiful because gratefulness is an active process. It's a process of being grateful. So we can really do something about being in the grace because we are grateful. So that's really beautiful the way you put it. And I also totally agree with the idea of when we are in that space of I almost want to say humility, humbleness, like kind of being grateful, it humbles you. So you become humble. And from that space of humbleness, life becomes beautiful because there's no expectation, there's no comparison, there's no greatness. There's this beautiful door of humbleness, which brings me then to the door of mindfulness. Actually, mindfulness, humbleness, gratefulness, all this go really together in this package of slowing down, breathing, and then really being more confident because you're so in touch with yourself that you can feel your strength and you can ground yourself much more. So that's really the work we're doing also when we're in Kundalini, when we are in this retreat, because during 40 days we practice that to come back constantly in that space. So it's really getting that muscle going, you know, of being in the world, being reactive and being like all over the place, going through social media, being compared, being in pain, being like trauma, childhood, and coming back onto the space of
and have this time for yourself. Like it's also I can tell that grace also could be like a well-being, a health care, the way that you treat yourself, you listen yourself, and it's like as you say, that to be humble, that to be more, give more forgiveness, the forgiveness part, that you can accept the other, even that sometimes they are wrong. You can take your time and think about and thought in different perspective, and so forgiveness, it's a kind of a graceful, I think, because you have more calm to think about, to think differently. It's not easy, but it's a process. Everything that's we can improve things, learn things, become better in our skills. But it's for me, it's like the same. I work some clients that they are in a leadership situation, and what could be a very good leader, for instance, it's to have more empathy, to listen better, to ask good questions, to accept the difference, the different talents, and to connect them. So it's everything. It's grace for me. So
that's very graceful. I think to have this new leadership coming up with more consciousness, actually, people who really work on themselves. I see in my groups, I have a lot of community leaders and people who have companies or who lead groups and teams, and also a lot of entrepreneurs, of course. But this path of going inwards, because also as an entrepreneur, as much as a team leader or a company leader, you go through so many challenges in your everyday life, and so it's always good to have some tools and to have this this capacity that you've trained to come back to. I think that's really important. How do you manage that with your clients? Do you also give them some exercises, or how do you get them into that space?
well, it's every people ask me, but the same way I'm very have this fluidity with my clients. So we make some conversation. I ask them many questions. We do some assessment for talents, for instance. I work as with Gallup, Clifton Strength Gallup. It's assessment that find their strength about their feelings and perceptions. And well, in image consulting, I have so many assessment as well. So I have sometimes some exercise. Sometimes I ask them to breathe, to just stay calm and connect with themselves to find their answer. And yeah, so it's depend of the client. So my service is quite a personal, so it's a very personalized. So I can help them to find in different ways. So I have so many tools that I can help, so many exercise. But we can talk about also well-being that I told you, to health life balance. And
that's good. So it's a holistic approach also.
Yeah, because I think that's the most important thing, that is that they can be have this awareness of their self, of their life. And so sometimes I recommend to do yoga and or walk on the forest. And because
there are some amazing tools. Yeah, it's true. I don't use the grid that you use. I use astrology. So astrology is a way of looking at all the different aspects of the personality, also all the different personas we have inside of us. You know, that we're not the same at work, we're not the same at home, with our kids, with our lovers, our husbands, and all. And so with astrology, we can also go and pinpoint where are the triggers that don't allow us to have a graceful living and to be in that space of fluidity, because it's really very clear in your chart that here it's like when you have a square, then it will have some moments of grinding and it will be kind of painful. So we give light on that. And I think grace and beauty can also be linked to trusting the process, trusting that we can we're allowed to have a graceful living. Actually, we're not meant to go to struggle and this heaviness. Today we have so many tools to lift and to look at ourselves, to put the light on the shadow. Yesterday we were talking with my daughter about what is a guru. You know, guru is actually someone who puts light on the shadow. It's like, it's just a guide. It's someone who shows you and who shares their own experiences. And so, yeah, I think it's interesting that we have all these tools in the 21st century. I mean, we're 2023 and there's still so much to come. And I think we're all elevating ourselves to that space where, as I talked about before, we're going from something very heavy. If you look at the Middle Ages, life was so heavy and dark and tough, and we're going to more lightness. And I think beauty and grace is also that. It's having that deep trust that we are on a soul journey and that we can just look at the journey. We have to be in it and experience it, but we can always step out of it and just look at it, to breathe, relax our system, like the parasympathetic system, sympathetic system, get out of the automatic response, and get back to it.
Yeah, so that is grace is also that the calmness,
exactly
that the movement. And we can, like, you can see, like in yoga or in a ballet, that's very quite grateful, not grateful, sorry, how they have a grace, because they have this look like easy, but it's not. It's a skill that's work to be like beautiful like that. But it's a process as well. So it's a grace we can also acquire. It's not well, of course they have some people that have inside born with this, but the other people can acquire as well, work on these skills and the ability to learn, to better behavior, better appearance, better movements, better communication, and consciousness. So I think that we can acquire. Also connect with people that have the same thought, that lightness to think and to see the positivity way of the
Community, totally. Community and surrounding ourselves also with grace, with people who are more graceful. I'm really excited about this upcoming 40 days because I know the joy of coming every day on the mat and sharing with other people because we're on Zoom every day. And I've already started looking at what kind of exercise we're going to do. And there's just one I want to share with you guys. I don't know if you're open for it. We went to do a tune in and we ended up not doing it. So maybe we can just do a little practice together. So it's very easy. It goes on a mantra. So normally it goes with music. So I'm going to share a bit of music with you on this occasion. And it's really a beautiful one. I think you can hear it now. So it goes like this. We'll be putting our hands in a prayer pose. Then we go up. We open the flower on the third eye. Then we come back down. Okay, let's go. Open the flower and then come down again. And then up again. Open the lotus on your third eye. And then you come down again. Hare 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 Ram. Hare Sa Sa Hare Sa Ram. Hare 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 Hare, and so on. So this is really an example for me, a very speaking example of the kind of technology we use, because just by the movements that we do, we feel the grace and the beauty and the slowness, and we do this for 11 minutes, imagine. So it's the whole cleansing of the system. It's the whole subconscious mind also releasing stuff, because as we relax, the subconscious mind has place to let go and release the heaviness, the old stuff that we carry with us, which is encrypted. Anxiety is encrypted in our bodies, so we release that anxiety as we sing. The singing process is also very important in this routine that we do. So yeah, how did you experience that? How was that for you?
Yeah, well, for me now, with see you, I can see a lot of grace, beauty as well. And then I close my eyes and feel the movement, and yeah, it's so light. I feel light now.
Right.
I cannot imagine like a more than 5 minutes doing this could be in another step of life.
Totally. You get into another dimension, really.
Yeah,
it's
another dimension.
Blissful, really grace and blissful. And these mantras, they have very specific, they're on a specific hertz, they're built actually. It's like sacred geometry. Sound is sacred geometry. So it works on our system. These are really designed to work on our system. So yeah, this is just a part of the routine, because of course there's a whole lot of workout going on also. It's like real physical. That's why I call it spiritual fitness, because you end up working out your whole body and you feel so fit after half an hour, because I cut it down to half an hour on the weekdays, and then in the weekend we do a full 1 hour workout. So yeah, I hope you can join us on the next one, because it's really a journey, and it's
thank you.
Something I want everybody to experience. It's such a medicine. I really call it a medicine.
Yeah, it's look like very easy, but not. It's a very complex, because we need to. I can imagine that you work a lot of breathing, and we just let's breathing. No, but I'm breathing already. No. It's conscious
It's
conscious breathing. It's completely different.
But the hardest is not so much the exercises, the breathing, you get to it because I really bring you there, but hardest is to show up every day. To show up
yeah.
every day for yourself during 21 days. You can do 21. I go for 40, but you can do 21 if it's the first time. And most people start there because it's a lot. 3 weeks showing up every day for yourself. Nobody
Yeah, it's a
does that.
commitment. It's a
It's a
commitment.
real commitment. And there's a whole workbook that goes with it. You write every day, you journal. So it's a real therapy. It's a collective therapy. This proposal that I give 4 times a year actually, and the next one is on the 15th of October. So voila, this is a bit of what we're gonna discuss and journal about: grace, beauty, how we feel, the refinement of our observation, also, you know, the way we connect with life. It's so hard to leave you because I'm having such a good time to discuss
Yeah, me
this
too.
subject. Let's do this again soon. And
Yes, whatever you want.
maybe we wrap up with a few words of wisdom. What would you want to share as a wrap up?
Your grace, it's inside of you. So just pay attention on what you are listening and your movements, in the way that you treat people, and the way that you treat yourself. So I think that's most important, because all of us have grace and beautiful inside and outside. So just live pop up.
Yeah, that's beautiful. You're a goddess. As you speak like that, I feel the whole vibration around you also. It's very light, very clear. Your aura is really clear. It's beautiful. Thank you for this beautiful connection this morning.
Thank you.
And let's connect again soon then.
Yeah.
Bye. Bye.